Hey there, I'm Amanda, and today I'm turning a $3 thrift store find into something handmade, functional, and meaningful. Welcome to Acutely Amanda, the podcast where odd-numbered seasons share short fiction and even-numbered seasons dive into crafting kits, tools, and the stories behind them. This is season 2, so grab your needle and thread. Today's project is a stitch and zip beginner needlepoint kit. Let's get into it. Needlepoint is any craft done with a thread and a needle, like embroidery or cross stitch. My sunglasses case had broken, and when I saw this kit at a thrift store with its bright yellow sunflowers, I thought how nice it would be for something I use every day to be something I made with my own hands. They're called stitch and zip because you unzip the case completely to stitch, then zip it back up when you're done. The kit includes everything you need: the case, the thread, and even the needle. Just not scissors. You can use regular ones, but embroidery scissors are smaller, more precise, and way easier to handle. The case has two sides, front and back, and a zipper around the edge. The front is a plastic mesh canvas with a design printed on it. You stitch colored thread over the matching printed areas, like paint by number, with thread. There are two main stitches: basket weave and continental. They look almost the same, but basket weave starts at the top right and moves diagonally down, while continental moves across in rows. Stitch and Zip recommends basket weave to prevent canvas warping, but I ended up mixing the two. Basket weave looks neater, but the painted design wasn't always clear, and stitching in straight lines was easier when doing tiny sections of color. They suggest stitching from lightest to darkest thread, so the back doesn't show through. That's smart, but the light colors were hard to see on the canvas. As a cross-stitcher, I'm used to counting exact placements. This was more eyeball it, which was relaxing but imprecise. One crafter online said she doesn't recommend stitch and zips for beginners because plastic canvas doesn't teach you how to read the weave. She's not wrong. It was hard to keep track without the texture of woven fabric. Still, by the time I got to my third color, the bright yellow, I was finding my rhythm. By the time I hit the light and dark greens, I started bending the rules. For example, the leaf veins on some of the leaves were dark and the rest light, and that was too tricky to leave blank and fill in later. It was easier to do the narrow stripe of dark first, then fill in around it. The final color was the dark blue background, which was a breeze. Just fill everything around the flowers, and you can see if you're watching the video, the flowers take up most of the canvas. But one surprise, the canvas design I had didn't match the photo on the packaging. It was the same 4 sunflowers, but the orientation was flipped and slid slightly. I realized I couldn't rely on the photo to guide me. Technically, the project is done after stitching, but some people online warned that the exposed threads on the back can catch on your glasses. I used a peel and stick felt to cover the back. I just traced the shape, cut it out, and stuck it on. It's easy, and it's holding up great. So, would I recommend a stitch and zip kit? Yes, conditionally. If you have zero needlepoint experience, the painted plastic canvas can feel confusing, and you might miss learning how to read a traditional woven canvas. But if you've done a bit of cross stitch or embroidery, it's a fun, low-stress project with everything in one bag, and the zip feature is genuinely clever. There's no sewing at the end. At $3, this thrift store find was a steal, and even at full price, these kits are an affordable entry into needlepoint. In short, they're great for adventurous beginners or crafty thrifters. Just be ready for a little creative improvisation. Now that we've stitched our way through the project, I couldn't help but wonder, where did this kit come from? So I did a little research, and what I found was surprisingly delightful. I was fascinated to learn that the Alice Peterson Company, the makers of Stitch and Zip, has been woman-owned since its founding in 1974. This eyeglasses case kit was one of their first products. Not exactly the sunflower one, but the idea of an eyeglasses case kit. As of 2025, they're on their 4th woman owner. They still print the canvases at their Arizona headquarters and assemble kits in California. Stitch and Zips are still their biggest seller, but they also hire artists to paint needlepoint designs for hand-painted canvases. Hundreds of them, regularly rotated. Some of the older Stitch and Zips are collector's items on eBay, so I definitely scored with my $3 find. I've almost completed a needlepoint project before. Almost. Back elementary school, I started one with my aunt. I finished a cross stitch and moved on to a sampler, which was embroidery, but I never finished it. That's a habit I'm working on breaking this season, not just starting craft projects, but finishing them. That's it for this episode of Acutely Amanda. Thanks for crafting with me today. If you enjoyed it, tap the like button. It helps more people find the show. Have you tried a stitch and zip or have a favorite beginner kit? I'd love to hear. Drop a comment or message me on Instagram at opinionsofawolf. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next project. You can always find more behind the scenes and all my creative work at opinionsofawolf.com. See you next time. Bye!